In this highlights video, we'll give an overview of Studio 3T's Index Manager. Indexing is an important way to optimize your MongoDB queries, as it makes it easy for MongoDB to narrow the focus of its search. MongoDB supports several different types of indexes, including single-field indexes, compound indexes, and geospatial indexes. So choosing the right index type for your query can significantly improve query performance. To begin, and with Studio 3T already open, go to the connection tree and expand a database. We'll be using the Crimes collection. To download this file, please see the link in the description below. Now expand that collection to access the Indexes section. This contains all the indexes a collection may have. Double-clicking the Indexes section itself opens the Index Manager in its own tab. Studio 3T does a quick schema scan over the documents in your collection to present you with a tree of all available indexes. In this instance, when opening from the Indexes section, no individual indexes will be selected in the view, and the tool options above will be grayed out. However, upon selecting an index, the tool then becomes activated. And expanding the indexes shows the fields inside that are being indexed. There can be simple indexes, where there's only one field, and compound indexes, where there's more than one field inside the index. Additionally, we can see the index stats, such as type, properties, size, and usage. Alternatively, you can just double-click an individual index, and this also launches the Index Manager. But in this instance, the index will already have been selected, and with the tool options already activated. The tools include Add Index, Drop Index, Edit Index, View Details, Hide Index, and Copy and Paste. To add an index, click the Add Index Plus icon. An Add Index window opens. In Index Name, you can add your own index name. If you leave this field empty, a default index name will be generated for you based on the fields and their index types. And below you have 5 tabs: Fields, Options, Test Options, Geo Options, and Collation. These same tabs are available in the Edit Index tool, as well as in the View Details window. In the Fields tab, you can then select the index fields that you want from the Indexed Fields drop-down menu. Or, if you know a field exists in your collection, you can simply type it out and Studio 3T will auto-complete. Next, choose Field Type. Then click the Add Field Plus button icon to create the new index. The new index now appears in the view. You can add more if you wish. However, if you wish to delete an index, just select it and click the Remove Field icon. Now click the Create Index button. The index creation bar at the bottom shows the progress of the index being created. The time it takes will correlate with the size of the fields it's based on. Once complete, the new index will now appear in the Index Manager window. Expand, and we can see all the fields you've added to that index. And on the bottom right, we can see the cumulative total size of all indexes. Now, select the index you just created, and click the Edit Index tool. Or just right-click and choose Edit Index from the dropdown. The Edit Index window opens. Here, you can additionally add indexes and make changes. And you can check the JSON by clicking the JSON button below. This opens the Index JSON window, where you can manually edit your JSON as well as validate it. Now, moving over to the Options tab, you can choose various index options. Among some of those are Unique Index, Sparse Index, and Hidden Index. Hidden allows you to hide the index from the MongoDB Query Planner when it's generating a query plan and choosing the best index for that particular query. So when you click Hidden, MongoDB will not consider the index for the query plan. This is a great way to improve query performance by easily checking the impact of an index and tuning it accordingly. And with Hidden selected by itself, you'll notice the button below reads Apply Changes. However, when choosing Hidden along with another option, or when just choosing another option individually, you'll notice the button changes to Drop and Recreate the Index. The reason for this is that MongoDB deletes and recreates new indexes rather than trying to modify them. And if you scroll to the bottom, we see the partial, where you can filter expressions. Moving on to the Text Options tab, you can set the text options that are specific to TextIndex. For example, clicking the default language from the dropdown, you can choose the desired default language. You also have the Fields Weights table, where you can weigh your text index fields in relation to one another. In the Geo Options tab, you can set index options specific to the different GeoIndex types. And lastly, in the Collation tab, you can choose values for the predefined settings. Now, returning to the main Index Manager. If you should have an index you wish to remove, just select it and click the Drop Index icon, or simply right-click and select Drop Index from the dropdown. In either instance, a Drop Index prompt opens. Click Drop Index. With the View Details tool, Studio 3T safeguards you from accidentally changing anything, such as editing, dropping, or adding indexes by mistake. As you can see with the grayed out OK button, you can't make any changes here. So this is a great way to protect your work when you need to review your information in a read-only environment. And the Hide Index tool is a second way to hide indexes when doing performance tests and when you're not working in the Edit Indexes Options tab. With the Copy and Paste tools, you can copy indexes from one collection to another, whether they're on the same server or in another collection in another database. Just select your index and click Copy. A Copy Indexes prompt opens. Click OK. Next, go to the connection tree and choose another collection. Expand to access the Indexes section. Select right-click and choose Paste Index. And the index will now appear in that other collection. And if you need to open a new Index Manager for this collection, double-click to open, and a new Index Manager tab opens. Sometimes it can be useful to compare the list of indexes in two collections. In this case, just right-click the new tab and select Split Vertically. Now you can have the two viewed side by side, comparing indexes in each collection. And to note, with the _ID index, you can only view its properties and configurations. It can't be modified or deleted. After creating any index, it's always a good idea to analyze performance to ensure that you're indexing correctly, and to identify if there are any issues when running queries. For more information on how MongoDB indexes work, please find the article in the description below. Please see our other highlights videos on getting more from MongoDB with the power of Studio 3T. Thanks for watching, and happy indexing!